What's good? What's good? We're back. We're back. Triple P, Paul Pickett podcast, where I give my input on NBA and NFL topics. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button in that right hand corner. If you're on TikTok following us live, please hit that follow. I got several topics I'm gonna get into. Don't forget the audio version of this podcast goes on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Slacker, iHeartRadio, and dozens of other platforms. Um, First, we're gonna get into a little bit of NBA stuff. You got the play-ins happening. We got Charlotte versus Pacers, Wizards versus Celtics, Spurs, Grizzlies, Warriors versus Lakers. Um, I know people are already talking about like Lakers being in the play-in and whatnot. I mean, LeBron and AD were hurt big majority of the season. And they definitely, I don't think they'll lose to the Warriors, but they definitely could get beat. I'm highly impressed that the Grizzlies are in the play in. They were almost in the playoffs last year. And John Moran has definitely been a stabilizing factor for the Grizzlies. He's definitely been, consistent stabilizing factor. Um, I like their future. They're still young. They got some young players. They need to bring in some veterans. They might need some couple more good draft picks, but the Grizzlies are looking good. Charlotte. You got to be excited about Charlotte. I think the Charlotte. I got Charlotte beating the Pacers and Wizards beating the Celtics. I know the winner of the 7 and 8, like whoever wins the 7 and 8 is automatically in at the 7, and then the loser has to go play the winner of the 9 and the 10. So if the Wizards beat the Celtics, they're in, and the Celtics got to go play the winner of Charlotte or the Pacers. And I'm confident that with Celtics injuries and the play of LaMelo Ball this year, that Charlotte could pull it off. They could pull, like technically, I mean, Charlotte would have probably been in the playoffs in there had LaMelo Ball not get hurt. So that's that. Um, Definitely, yeah. Wizards versus Celtics. Yeah, I'm thinking. I got Charlotte and the Wizards, and then I got um Lakers and Warriors. Lakers and Warriors pulling it out, and then that'd be all the seeds. And of course, the Lakers. I got them playing the Suns coming in the seventh, and Warriors have to play the Jazz, which Jazz have had injuries problems themselves. So watch out. This could be a real funny season. Could almost and be like the bubble. And I don't think they're going into a bubble at all playoff time. So we'll see how this goes. Steph Curry, scoring leader. Beats out Bradley Bill. Steph Curry is phenomenal, man. I mean, yeah, he was born in Akron, but he was raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina dude. Highly proud of Steph Curry. Played for Davidson, which is a North Carolina school, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Definitely been balling out, putting up big numbers. I mean, Steph changed the game. Everybody want to shoot threes now because of Steph. We know Steph can put up crazy points. Had Klay Thompson been healthy this year? No, he doesn't win the scoring title, but they needed him to win the scoring title just to be, in the play-in. If Steph Curry doesn't win scoring title this year, not even in the play-in. But much love to Steph Curry. I think this is his second scoring title, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so big ups to that Steph Curry scoring leader. Coach of the year. It's definitely between Tom Thibodeau and Monty Williams. I will put Doc Rivers at number three. What he's done with the Sixers. Tom Thibodeau's probably going to get it because the Knicks ain't been good forever. Now they're a four seed, even though I don't think they're going to beat the Hawks. I think the Hawks are better than the Knicks. I think the only reason the Hawks are a higher seed is because coaching, coaching, and COVID protocols and injuries, and mainly coaching. Because since Nate McMillan took over, the Hawks been balling out. You know, so yeah, Tom Thibodeau probably get coach of the year, but I still think they get bounced out in the first round. And so does Monty Williams and the Suns. They're gonna get bounced out in the first round too. But that's my top two for coach of the year. One coach took his team from. I mean, both of the teams were not in the playoffs last year, and one's a number two seed and one's a number four. So that's impressive. MVP. There's some people out there saying it's Steph Curry. Um, I mean, based on what he's had to work with, and his team gets into the playoffs, I mean, you might can say that. I mean, this idea that the guy with the best record, with a guy that's always on the team with the best record should be MVP. I don't know. I mean, that means he's got a lot more around him to work with. He's got a lot more like if you put Steph Curry on Denver, I'm just probably saying that they might be the number one seed with all the pieces that he would have around him. Even if Jamal Murray is hurt, like Denver still has a lot of depth. They had a lot of depth last year. They had a lot of depth this year. A lot of good pieces. So I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one. It's between the Joker and Steph Curry. Definitely. And the fact that Steph got a scoring title this year, that he might get it, man. He might get it. It's gonna be really tough to say who gets the MVP this year. But it's definitely between those two, and Steph Curry might get it. Rookie of the year, that's another tough one. Some people normally the guy with the highest scoring average gets it. Anthony Edwards has that. Um, the only issue is he's only has it by 2 or 3 points a game, and Anthony Edwards hasn't impacted winning this year at all. Like LaMelo Ball instantly came in and has changed the face of the organization. He's changed the vibe, the feel, the confidence, the swagger. Everything about that has changed overnight as soon as LaMelo Ball hit that starting lineup. Even before that, yeah, they brought him in a little gradually at first, somewhat off the bench. As soon as he took over that starting lineup, it was like opportunity to win almost every night. And that's the thing. You know, are you a better rookie because you scored more? Or are you a better rookie because you impact winning more? I'm gonna go off the limb and say that impacting winning is makes you a better rookie, not scoring. You know, because a lot of dudes go to like scrubby teams and put up big numbers because there's nobody else there. And not to mention, Karl Anthony Towns was hurt for most of the season. So I'm gonna say Lamelo Ball. It's gonna be tough. Lamelo Ball probably still deserves it, even though he was hurt for some games. I don't know if it was enough games to say that it takes away from the impact he had this year on the Charlotte Hornets and the impact he's gonna have moving forward too. Because trust me, man, Charlotte Hornet fans they're smiling ear to ear, man. They're grinning ear to ear. We're cheesing like they're happy as hell that we got LaMelo Ball. And a lot of people, like even me, were skeptical at first, but I have no doubts that LaMelo Ball is one of the best players that Charlotte Hornets have ever drafted in the history of the Charlotte Hornets. You know, like he's gonna be like he's top three Unless you count Kobe Bryant, who got traded to the Lakers, who's the biggest draft pick ever that Charlotte Hornets had, and they traded him away like dummies. You got Larry Johnson, Lonzo Mourning, and LaMelo Ball, man. That's it. Marv Albert is retiring after the playoffs. Um, yeah, man. Everything. I mean, nothing ever stays the same. Things change, but like the NBA is never going to be the same without a lot of these big faces that they have. Marv Albert retiring. Then just a lot of people coming and going, and new faces come in and just changes the vibe of everything. But shouts out to Marv Albert, man. Long career, great career. Craig Sager, who passed away. I mean, it ain't the same. Like NBA is not the same without Craig Sager. It's like college basketball without Dick Vitale. It's not gonna be the same. You know, it's just not the same. All right, let's get into some football. Before I do that, hit that subscribe button in that right hand corner if you're on YouTube. Don't forget the videos. Also go to Facebook fan page, Twitter, Instagram TV. Hit the follow on there and check out the audio version on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Slacker, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and more. You can just Google the Paul Pickett Podcast. You see the name behind me, Paul Pickett Podcast, Triple P. Um, Green Bay signs Blake Bortles. Let me scratch my head on this one. Let me think about this one because I'm confused. Like, are you really? I mean, are you really trying to piss Aaron Rodgers off for real? You intentionally trying to piss Aaron Rodgers off for real? Let me take a sip. Water my tongue, water my beak, scratch my head. Like, are y'all really trying to piss off Aaron Rodgers? I mean, you draft his heir apparent who ain't. I'm gonna go on record and say that Jordan Love never like maybe starts one full season in the NFL and that's it. I'm gonna go on the record and say that Jordan Love might not never even play a, a might not ever start for Green Bay ever. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Jordan Love is going to be sitting on the bench as long as Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay. Jordan Love will sit on the bench every single year. It's not that people ain't trying to give no love to Jordan Love. It's just that you got to be realistic about this. He ain't no Aaron Rodgers and no Brett Favre. I've only seen two franchises in my time, maybe three, that three franchises in my time that had a quarterback for a long period of time transitioned over to another quarterback that was great that could help them win a Super Bowl or do what the other quarter. Steelers, I see the Steelers with Cordell Stewart who won the Super Bowl and Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I've seen that turnover. The 49ers, Montana to Young, and Young won a Super Bowl. And Favre to Rodgers. Past that, I can't think of another instance where a guy played 5 or 10 years for a franchise, won a Super Bowl, and his guy, his heir apparent replacement came in and won a Super Bowl too. I mean, like with the Patriots, Drew Bledsoe went to a Super Bowl, and I remember that because I actually rapped halftime in the Super Bowl at a church, but he didn't win it. And as soon as he got hurt, Tom Brady took over, won a Super Bowl, and Drew Bledsoe never got a start job. I've never seen a guy. I haven't. Troy Aikman didn't have nobody come behind. I've never seen it happen like right away. Like that, you replace a Super Bowl winning quarterback after 5 or 10 years with another Super Bowl winning quarterback, but three times in 42 years. The Bears sure as hell didn't do it. 1985, that's all I knew was the Bears. They sure as hell didn't do it. So I can't think. I mean, the Broncos didn't do it because they had plenty quarterbacks in between Elway and Peyton Manning. So I have never seen a franchise do this. So why does I know Green Bay did it once, but do it twice? Only three franchises done it once, and Green Bay think they're gonna do it twice. They think they're gonna find the next Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, and I'm here to tell you, you're not. You know, so then you sign Blake Bortles. I mean, because what I'm guessing is just in case Aaron Rodgers gets traded and wants out, you have a competent or semi-competent former NBA starter who went to a AFC championship, but after that, that was it. All right, enough of that. I'm gonna get into this Deshaun Watson. I mean, like it's been quiet on Deshaun Watson, and then like he got 22 lawsuits. I've gave my opinion on that. I don't believe all these. I believe maybe one or two might be legit, and the rest are just additives to the case to try to beef it up and make it look worse than it is, and a bunch of them are just out for money because none of these have filed criminal charges. That like I have to question that 22 women are filing sexual assault lawsuits, but none of these are criminal cases. So he didn't do no criminal acts. Like that's what sexual assault is. It's a criminal act. So the fact that he's getting no criminal charges, but people after money, I always got a question. Do you really want justice or do you really want a payday? Because getting paid out, making $1 million off of sexual assault isn't justice if they didn't go to jail. It's not justice. That's you getting a payday. That's all it is. You know? So, I mean, I don't know if I want to say I feel bad for Deshaun Watson at this point. I feel like maybe some of this he brought on himself and a lot of it not. And, the timing of it has always been funny to me. The biggest high profile name to ever ask out for a trade, you know, in NFL history. And then, you know, next thing you know, you see Russell Wilson after that, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the timing is really crazy to me, especially, how these allegations come in right after he asked for the trade and Houston says they're not trading him. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what to make of it, man. I mean, it's definitely muddy the waters. A lot of teams won't want him, but then there's been teams, seen teams that sign guys who've been arrested for cocaine, and okay, that's just as bad, damn near. So Bears, I don't know what the Bears are doing, man. Like 1985, I was 6 years old. All I knew was the Bears. So I knew the Bears. I mean, they're the only team that celebrated winning the Super Bowl before they won the Super Bowl. That's some G stuff. That's some real confident, egotistical. You can't be stopped stuff. You know. Hit that subscribe button in the right hand corner. Don't forget. So these guys literally celebrated the Super Bowl before they won it, and trust me, they demolished the Patriots like 56-7 in the Super Bowl, whatever it was. I mean, they only lost one game that year, and I want to say they lost that game in the regular season to the Patriots. They shouldn't have lost. They should have been. The Bears should have been the most unblemished, perfect team. I don't know what happened with the game they lost. Maybe they totally underestimated and played down to the competition. I don't know what it was. Maybe they played like it was a practice. I don't know, but it definitely should have been undefeated. But the Bears, ever since even the quarterback they had then wasn't. He's not a Hall of Famer, and I might have to look that up, but he better not be. Jim McMahon's not a Hall of Famer. He's no different. Jim McMahon is just a flashy version of Trent Dilfer. a flashy version of Brad Johnson or no, I ain't gonna say Mark Rippon. Mark Rippon, I felt like was a little bit slightly better than Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer, and so was Phil Simms. But he was just like a flashy version of them, or Joe Flacco, who just got hot at the right time and won a Super Bowl because he ain't done nothing since. You know, just a flashy version of those guys. They've had bums of quarterbacks, and I don't get it. Like, this is their shot to actually have their first legit quarterback, man. They first legit quarterback. Let me repeat. I'm 42 years old. This their chance to have their first legit quarterback. And the Bears are older than me. So you got, and like if you start Dalton, I mean, it's got to be a few games and that's it, man. You got to go straight to the Justin Fields era. You got to get out of this mindset era of just getting average quarterbacks, man, at the helm. And the defenses aren't like the '85 Bears defenses, and Walter Payton ain't coming out of retirement either. You got to have. That's the thing. If you want to do this 1985 Bears mentality forever, you got to have a running game to back it up. And I mean a dominant running game and a dominant defense, and then an average quarterback. It could work. But they haven't had a dominant running game in a long time to go with the defenses they have. And yes, the Bears. I mean, as long as I know them, the Bears have had some tough defensive guys, man. Singletary, Richard Dent, Erlachers, Khalil Mack. Now I mean we're known for having we have to have top notch defensive guys on the Bears, but we gotta have the running game to back it up. And if you don't, then you gotta have a above average quarterback like Justin Fields. I mean, Bears. I mean, we could be going in the right direction for the Chicago Bears. And I only say we because that was the first football team I ever liked, the first sports team I ever liked. And I like the Cubs just because I like the Bears at one point. So, but this Andy Dalton, man, he's done, man. He's the backup. Justin Fields starter. You gotta go. You gotta go all in, man. No risk it, no biscuit. Like my man Bruce Arians says, scare money don't make money. So screw Andy Dalton. Roll with Justin Fields. I don't want to hit it. He's young and he's experienced. The kid's ready. He's ready. I guess this is last and least, last but least. Giants signed Kelvin Benjamin, and the reason I'm talking about this is not because they signed Kelvin Benjamin. It's because Kelvin Benjamin is now becoming a tight end instead of a receiver. Now, I've always felt like Kelvin Benjamin was more of a tight end than a wide receiver because of his body or how it was built. I always felt like he wasn't the guy that was super fast to get elude. He was a guy that get the button, was better at getting catches in the middle of the field and then, breaking through tackles and stuff. So the fact that he's, doing that makes sense, all the sense to me because he should have been a tight end in the first place. And then I also wanted to bring it up to the fact that, okay, I understand that Kelvin Benjamin was a receiver and a tight end is a receiver, but the traditional tight ends weren't receivers. They were more like blockers. And Kelvin Benjamin, even though he's a big boy, I never really got an impression that he was this super great blocker when he was in the league. Yeah. He was drafted by my team, the Carolina Panthers. He was their first round receiver. He had a good rookie season, got hurt, and they ain't really done much since. Because he wasn't the kind of receiver that he wasn't a typical receiver. He was more of a to me, he was more of just a slot receiver, tight end kind of guy. He wasn't the guy going the distance, long balls, deep balls, anything of that nature. He didn't really show. I didn't really see that he was a great blocker because I didn't really think he was really. He was kind of pretty flabby too to me. He wasn't really solid, kind of flabby. But yeah. So this guy could be at the league and go from receiver to tight end just so he has a shot to be back in the league. But if Tim Tebow does it, all hell gotta break loose. Then they gotta compare it to Kaepernick and this, that, and the third. First of all, Kaepernick had another shot to get back in the league, and he screwed that over because he wanted to dictate terms of getting back in the league. This is the thing: if you're being blackballed out of somewhere, or blacklisted, or kicked out of somewhere, you don't get to dictate the terms of you coming back and returning. You don't get to dictate the terms. If you truly want to be back, you don't get to. And that's the thing. Like, unless you own a team or run the NFL, whatever, you don't really get to dictate the terms. I don't think athletes fail to realize that you're an employee. I'm self employed. I work for no one. I work for no man but myself. And yes, athletes do make more money than me. But if you don't have a business outside of sports in your paycheck as an athlete, if you don't have endorsements, guess what? And even when you have endorsements, you still work for somebody. So unless you own a business outside of sports, you are an employee. You don't get to dictate nothing. Some things, let me take that back. You might, if you're LeBron James and you're a superstar, you could dictate some things. But if Colin Kaepernick was never a superstar, he was never a superstar. And every starting quarterback doesn't get to dictate everything on the team. Yes, the starting quarterback should be able to not necessarily dictate, but give input on certain things. Now, if you're Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, yeah, you should be able to dictate some things, like first round picks, offense, like what offensive players you're picking for your first round picks. If I'm a quarterback, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I want to be able to be part in the dictating what offensive players we pick. Now, defensive players, no, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be able to dictate what. No, none of the defensive players, because what does he know about defense? I mean, well, let me take that back because he does know how to read defenses, but unless he's scouting defensive players, no, you know. But yeah. So this idea that an employee should dictate all the terms or dictate most of the terms, no, you shouldn't dictate none of the terms. You're an employee. You can put in input, but you're an employee. So Tim Tebow's situation is not the same as Kyle Kaepernick because Tim Tebow isn't trying to dictate the terms on how he comes back. Colin Kaepernick tried to dictate the terms. He didn't want to. He didn't want to do the tryout with the NFL held the trial. He wanted to do the tryout where he wanted to do it and how he wanted to do it. That's you try to dictate the terms. So no, employees don't get to dictate terms. You're an employee. I'm self-employed. I work for no man. I could just pretty much do what I want. I dictate all the terms of my business. If I decide I want to refund somebody's money just because I don't like the way their face looks, I get to dictate those terms because I own the business. If I have employees, guess what? My employees don't get to refund somebody just because they don't like how their face looks. Because they don't own my business. They don't get to dictate my rules of my business and the terms of my business. I do. So this idea that an employee was supposed to he gets to dictate the terms and then still come back like everything's peaches and cream. No, man, it don't work that way. You come back on the NFL's terms if you want back in, or the NBA's terms when you're basically kicked out and blackballed and blacklisted out because you alienated half of the fan base. That's what that people don't realize, you know, with the Colin Kaepernick situation, you alienated half of the sports fan base. You hurt the sport more than you helped it. And your job is to help build the sport up. That's why you're supposed to do interviews and stuff. That's why it's under the contract that athletes have to do interviews to help promote the sport. But that doesn't help promote the sport when you alienate half your fan base and you drive a wedge one between half of your fan base who doesn't want that says that we're not gonna watch this if you're gonna alienate us. And then NBA did the same thing. That's why NBA viewership is down. Because okay, like COVID had everybody in the household and NBA viewership was down. It wasn't because they were watching all these other things. It's because you alienated half of your fan base. You don't need cancel culture when you alienate. Excuse me. Let me get a sip. I got hiccups about to come in. You when you alienate half your fan base, you don't need cancel culture to cancel you. Cancel culture can't cancel you anyways, unless it's your fans saying they want to cancel. You got a million fans, and there's a million people talking about cancel you, and neither one of them are your fans. They can't cancel Jack. They can't cancel nothing. Only your fan base, your loyal fan base, can cancel you. And you don't need to be canceled when you alienate half of your fan base. You don't cancel yourself because you alienate them. You know, and so that's why I bring up this Kelvin Benjamin thing because it kind of leads into this. He's a wide. He's coming back into the league because he's a wide receiver, but his only shot is a tight end. And why is he doing that? Because he wants to be back in the league, and he's probably not. Kelvin Benjamin probably isn't generating too much revenue outside of sports unless he's got a business. I know he doesn't got a lot of endorsements whatsoever. You know, he might be doing some commercials here and there, but not much. You know, so this idea that these guys are trying to get in the league by any means necessary, but this other guy doesn't want to get in the league by any means necessary. He just wants to dictate all the terms. You know, he's not. He don't want to come back into the league unless it's on his terms. No, he had his shot. He blew it. He wanted to dictate the terms. Employees don't get to dictate terms. And if any employees are offended by this, then you might want to go start your own business. Then you know where I'm coming from. But employees don't get to dictate any terms. Yeah, you can put in input, but that's it. It doesn't get to dictate anything. You know, this is what people don't realize in society. In America, there is no dictatorship unless you own a business or you rent or own your house. I rent my apartment. Guess what? Nobody dictates anything inside my apartment but me. Me. Somebody comes in my apartment, they're not dictating jack. Nothing. Squat. They get kicked out quick like it. If not, they get drug out. If that don't work, Swiss cheese. You get turned into Swiss cheese. You know, so yeah. Nobody, unless you own something or you own a business or you own a house, you don't dictate nothing. You know, and if you're just an employee that rents an apartment with another person, guess what? There is no dictatorship there either. It's a democracy. It's two people. It's more than one. A dictatorship is one person or one entity. Two people ain't one entity. You know? So yeah, employees don't get to dictate nothing, man. You want to dictate things, go own a sports team, go own a business. You know? That's where dictators come in. I rent my place by myself. I own my business. I dictate my whole life. If I want to take the whole day off, the whole week off, the whole month off, that's my choice. I dictate that. That might not be smart financially, but All right. Well, I want to thank y'all for tuning in once again. Triple P, Paul Pickett Podcast. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button in the right hand corner. Also, hit the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Slacker, iHeartRadio. Also, check out my website, promopalace.biz, for my online marketing advertising company. Also, check out my apparel, newlitter.com, for all you dog lovers. Also, check out a couple of my other websites, planetplaylist.com and indiecastle.net. You can also check out my Twitter, Paul P Podcast, Facebook, Paul Pickett Podcast. Some of my other handles is Promo Palace LLC, Indie Castle. Um, you can email me at paulpromopalace.biz or promopalace1 at gmail.com. And that's it. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. All these videos are pre-recorded except my TikTok, which I'm going live on. Give peace sign up to the people on TikTok. Shouts out. And then shouts out to the people here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button in that right hand corner. And that's how we do. Triple P Podcast, Paul Pickett, and I'm out.